Good morning, students, and welcome back to my class. Students, in the previous classes, we have seen the types of tissues, that is meristematic type, meristematic tissues, permanent tissues. In permanent, we have seen simple permanent tissues and complex permanent tissues. So, the structure and function of xylem and phloem and parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma, all these structures and functions we have completed. And we have also seen the anatomy of root, stem and leaf. So, the internal organization also we discussed that when we take the transverse section of root or stem or leaf, how it looks internally. So, all this part is discussed, and today we are going to discuss about secondary growth, that what is secondary growth and how it takes place in dicot plants. And this is of course this is the last chapter of internal organization of plants. So, this chapter is also very important, and many or more times we have observed that number of questions came from this chapter, 2 to 3 questions or sometimes 1 or 2 questions from anatomy of roots or stems, and 1 question from secondary growth. So, this chapter is also equally important. So, let us see how secondary growth takes place in dicot plants. Generally, secondary growth takes place in dicots and gymnosperms. So, a dicot means angiosperm is divided into dicot and monocot. So, in dicot it takes place, and in gymnosperms also the secondary growth takes place. But in monocots, monocot roots and monocot stem and leaves, secondary growth do not take place. So, but there are some monocot plants also, like palm tree, coconut tree, dracena, yucca, smilax. In these plants, anomalous secondary growth we can observe. So, secondary growth takes place in such plants. But let us see what is secondary growth and how the small plant increases in the width. So, primarily the plant is very small, and in that meristematic cells were present, that we know, and these meristematic cells are young cells, juvenile cells. They undergo division, and later on they form new, they develop permanent cells also. And the plant body is made up of parenchymatous. Most of the body is made up of parenchymatous part, and less some collenchyma and sclerenchyma are also there. And vascular tissue system, xylem and phloem, helps in conduction of water and food, that we have observed. But after some time, what happens? The plants start growing, and the width is also increasing, and it becomes stouter. So, what is secondary growth? Let us see. Apart from primary growth, the dicot plant exhibit an increase in girth. Increase in girth, that means increase in diameter or increase in width, is called secondary growth. So, increase in diameter. Plant is very thin primarily, the stem is very thin and slender. But when after some years, what happens? Every year we can say some wood part is increasing. So, due to that, the girth is also increasing. So, increase in diameter or increase in width or girth, it is known as secondary growth. The tissues involved in secondary growth. So, how secondary growth occurs, how this secondary structure is forming? The tissues involved in secondary growths are 2 lateral meristem. We have seen there are 3 types of meristem. According to the place and position in the plant body, there are 3 types of meristematic tissues: apical meristematic, intercalary meristematic, and lateral meristematic. So, apical meristematic is present at the tip of root and shoots, and due to that it increases in length. And intercalary meristematic is seen in, generally in grasses, we have seen at the base of the petiole, we can observe. But so these 2 are primary meristem, but a lateral meristem is present which runs parallelly. It is present parallelly in the stem, and it is a secondary meristematic tissue. Due to that, it helps in forming secondary structure. So, let us see the tissues involved in secondary growth are two lateral meristem. So these two lateral meristem, what are these two lateral meristem? One is vascular cambium and the second is cork cambium. So let's see what is vascular cambium. The first one is vascular cambium and the next one is cork cambium. So first of all, what is vascular cambium? If you remember the structure of the dicot stem, in the steel part, we have observed that the vascular bundles are conjoint, collateral and open type. Because in dicot stem, cambium is present and this cambium is meristematic tissue. So cambium is present there in dicot stem, and due to that it is open type of vascular bundle. In monocot stem, no cambium ring is there. So secondary growth do not takes place generally in monocot. But if we see, the arrangement of vascular bundle is ring-like manner. So all the vascular bundles are arranged in ring-like and it is known as U-stele type. So we have seen U-stele type of arrangement. This is the U-stele. So here we can observe that all the vascular bundles, these are vascular bundles. This is vascular bundle, this is one vascular bundle, and all these are arranged in a ring-like manner. And towards inner side, xylem is present. This part is xylem. Towards inner side, this is xylem. And outer side is phloem. And in the middle, this part is called cambium ring. This is cambium. Here also you can see. And this cambium which is present in between xylem and phloem, that is known as fascicular cambium. This cambium is known as fascicular cambium. So earlier when the stem is young, when the plant is young, in the young stem, we can observe this type of structure. So all the vascular bundles are arranged in a ring-like manner. And with these vascular bundles are having cambium ring. This cambium is called fascicular cambium. So first is, we will see the growth, stellar secondary growth. That means inside the stele, how secondary growth is taking place. So two types we have observed, two lateral meristems are there, and one is vascular cambium and second one is cork cambium. And due to vascular cambium, how secondary growth is taking place. Let's see. So this is fascicular cambium which is present in between xylem and phloem in a conjoint collateral ring. Later on, what happens? Let's see. This portion is having, this is medullary rays portion. This portion is nothing but medullary rays. In between bundles, medullary rays are present. Later on, what happens? That cells of cambium present between primary xylem and primary phloem is called intrafascicular cambium. So what is intrafascicular or fascicular cambium? So these vascular bundles are arranged in a ring-like manner at first. And this part is xylem, lower side is xylem, and upper part is phloem. In between xylem and phloem, fascicular cambium, or we can say intrafascicular cambium is present. What is intrafascicular cambium means? The cambium ring which is present in a bundle in between xylem and phloem, that is called intrafascicular cambium. So this part is called intrafascicular cambium and become meristematic. The intrafascicular cambium become meristematic and form interfascicular cambium. That means this intrafascicular cambium, it is made up of, actually cambium is meristematic tissues. So it becomes meristematic, that it becomes active, and meristematic tissue, the function of meristematic tissue is divide. So these intrafascicular cambium divides, undergo division, and it forms interfascicular cambium. So where is it? This interfascicular cambium, this is intrafascicular, and this part undergoes division and it forms interfascicular cambium. So I think you understood what is intrafascicular and what is interfascicular. The cambium which is present in the bundle in between xylem and phloem, that is called intrafascicular. This is called intrafascicular cambium. And the cambium ring which is formed by the intrafascicular in between two bundles. So this portion, this part is called interfascicular cambium. This is called interfascicular cambium. So this is the difference between intrafascicular and interfascicular. So the cambium which is present in between two bundle, that is interfascicular, and the cambium which is present in the bundle in between xylem and phloem, that is called intrafascicular. And intrafascicular cambium becomes meristematic, and due to the activity of intrafascicular cambium, interfascicular cambium is formed. So this is formed in between two bundles. So see, these two cambium rings form a ring-like structure. It forms a cambium ring. These two cambium form joined, they are joined and they are forming cambium ring. So let's see here in the slide. Intrafascicular cambium and interfascicular cambium joined to form complete cambium ring. So this is how cambium ring is formed. Here also we can observe. This is in the middle intrafascicular and it is interfascicular, and these two cambium rings are joined and they are forming a cambium ring. And the cambium ring becomes active and begins to cut off new cells both towards inner sides and outer sides. Cells produced towards pith. So this cambium ring, what happens? This total complete cambium ring is now formed in between the bundles and in the xylem and phloem in the bundles. So complete cambium ring is formed here. So this cambium ring becomes active and it forms two types of initial. One is called fusiform initial and the second one is called ray initial. So two initial structures are formed by the activity. So here we can observe again this in this diagram also you can see this is forming cambium ring, and this cambium ring total ring like structure is formed here, and this cambium ring is becoming active and it is undergoing division, and this is forming fusiform initial and ray initial. So due to the activity of cambium ring, two structures are formed. One is known as fusiform initial, second one is called as ray initial. So what is the function of this fusiform initial? Let's see. Fusiform initial divides periclinally. So from the inner side and outer side it divides. So the fusiform initial, this part undergoes division, and some cells are formed towards inner sides and some cells are formed towards outer sides. So this fusiform initial divides periclinally and form secondary xylem and secondary phloem. Already primary xylem and primary phloem is present there in the vascular bundle, but due to the activity of cambium ring, two initials are formed. One is called fusiform initial and second is called ray initial. And again the fusiform initial divides periclinally, and this fusiform initial is forming secondary xylem towards inner side. Xylem is always formed towards inner side here, and outer side secondary phloem is formed. That's how the secondary xylem part is formed, and it increases the wood part. So due to the activity of fusiform initial, secondary xylem and secondary phloem is formed, and due to the activity of ray initial, Ray initial also undergoes periclinal division. So ray initial divides periclinally and it forms secondary xylem rays and secondary phloem rays. As these are ray initial and these are present where in between two bundles, so their medullary rays was already there. So these ray initial again form secondary medullary rays. These ray initial xylem rays and phloem rays together form secondary medullary rays. So this is how the ray part medullary rays are formed, secondary medullary rays are formed, and a secondary xylem and secondary phloem is formed. So let's see in this structure also. Here we can see the secondary xylem. This is xylem ray. This is xylem ray. In between the two vascular bundles, this xylem ray and a phloem ray is formed. And this is of course bark part. We have not discussed till now. Late wood and this is all. So xylem rays and phloem rays are formed in between the bundles. But later on this bundle part is ruptured. When the stem is growing, the vascular bundle is ruptured because more number of secondary xylem and secondary phloem is formed already. Here also we can see the secondary xylem. This is secondary xylem. So inside secondary xylem is forming and outside secondary phloem is forming. Now, cells produced toward pith mature into secondary xylem. So inside, pith is towards inner side. So the cells which are formed towards inner sides are considered or known as secondary xylem. And cells produced towards periphery and mature, these cells are known as secondary phloem. And secondary xylem forms a compact mass retaining primary xylem in the center. What happens? This secondary xylem is forming and the secondary xylem is pushing the other things, that means primary xylem towards pith. So the cortex and other endodermis which are present outside of course, and in the stellar region secondary xylem is pushing the primary xylem towards pith. At some places the cambium forms a narrow band of parenchyma which passes through secondary xylem and phloem. It is said to be secondary medullary rays. That means the ray initial is forming secondary xylem and secondary xylem rays and secondary phloem rays. So that is how secondary medullary rays formed, and secondary xylem and secondary phloem is formed due to the activity of the cambium ring. So let's see in another diagram, we will better understand this. This is the stellar part and these are vascular bundle. Vascular bundles are arranged in a ring-like manner and the inner part is xylem. So this is xylem. Here also inner part is xylem and the outer part is, this part is phloem. This part is xylem. In between xylem and phloem, cambium ring is present. So this is called cambium ring. Now cambium, we can say it is intrafascicular cambium, and this cambium is known as intrafascicular cambium. Intrafascicular cambium, and this intrafascicular cambium which is present in between the xylem and phloem, it becomes active, it becomes meristematic and it becomes active and it is forming interfascicular cambium. So interfascicular cambium, this part is called interfascicular cambium. Interfascicular cambium, and both these intrafascicular and interfascicular together, these two cambium form a cambium ring. It is forming a cambium ring. And this cambium ring is undergoing division, and towards inner side it is undergoing division. It is having fusiform initial and a ray initial. So here fusiform initial is present, and this cambium ring, what happens that the ring part is ruptured, and here many number of xylem is secondary xylem is forming. This is secondary xylem. This is secondary xylem, and secondary phloem is also formed, and primary xylem is pushed to the towards pith, and this is secondary xylem, and secondary phloem is also formed. So this part is, we can say this part is called secondary phloem. So secondary xylem and secondary phloem is formed. This is how. This is secondary xylem, and this is secondary phloem. So due to the activity of fusiform initial or cambium ring, which is having two types of initial, ray initial and fusiform, fusiform initial is forming secondary xylem and secondary phloem. And in between this part, ray initial is present. So this is ray initial, and this is forming secondary medullary rays. Ray initial is forming secondary medullary rays. In between the bundles, medullary rays are present. So this is how secondary xylem, which is known as, actually which is wood part, wood. So this is how secondary xylem is formed inside the dicot stem. Now, what is spring wood and autumn wood? So in temperate region, we can see that the climatic conditions are not uniform. So there we can notice different types of seasons, spring seasons, autumn seasons, all the seasons we can notice. So in the spring season, what happens, the plant start producing more number of flowers and more number of leaves. So requirement of water is, it requires more water. So what happens at that time, in temperate region, during spring season, cambium becomes more active. The cambium part, it becomes more active, and what happens at that time, it produces large number of xylem elements. That means xylem elements, xylem vessels, lumen part, this is produced. Large number of xylem is produced because water requirement is increasing. Having vessels with wider cavities, wider lumens, and the wood formed in spring season called spring wood or early wood. So the more number of water is required, and this time wood is formed. This time also in the cambium, by the activity of cambium ring, some secondary wood is formed. So the wood which is formed in the spring season, that is known as spring wood, or it is also known as early wood. So once in a year, 2 times in wood is forming. So 2 times, first time in the spring season, when it is flowers and leaves are, more number of leaves and flowers are appearing on the plant. At that time the requirement of water is more. At that time also some wood is formed, and that is known as spring wood or early wood. And in winter, in autumn season, when leaves are falling and flowers are not much, cambium is not much active, less active, and it forms fewer xylem elements. Fewer xylem elements are present with the narrow vessels. At that time water is not that much necessary, so xylem elements are less in number and fewer xylem vessels are formed. That time some wood is formed, which is known as autumn wood or late wood. So in each plant, every time 2 times some wood is formed. Secondary wood is formed. Secondary xylem is formed, which is called wood. And the first times in spring season, it is wood is formed that is called as early wood, and the second time which is formed in the autumn season, which is known as autumn wood or late wood. Spring wood is lighter in color and lower density. Density is lower and color also we can see that light color it is, and whereas autumn wood is darker and higher in density. It is darker and density, high density. The two woods that appear as alternate concentric ring constitute an annual ring. So every year, 2 times in a tree, 2 times wood is increasing, wood part is forming. So this total of these 2 rings are known as annual rings. So the 2 wood that appear as alternate concentric rings, these are present in a concentric ring like manner. You can observe here also these wood, these are rings. So one time that lighter color is formed in spring wood. So this is lighter, so this is spring wood, and this is darker. The darker part is known as autumn wood. Wood darker and autumn wood is darker. So the darker part which we are observing here, that is autumn wood. So 2 times rings are forming, and these 2, the study of determination of these 2 rings is known as these 2 annual rings. When we study about the annual rings, that is called dendrochronology. So, dendrochronology. And study of determining the age of tree, the age of the plant, by seeing these 2 annual rings, where these 2 times rings are forming, equally 2 times are forming. So every are appearing in the stem. So by seeing this, studying these annual rings, if we determine the age of the tree, that is called dendrochronology. So we can determine the age of the tree by this. How we determine? First of all, the stem part is taken from the base. There only we can observe, particularly if we want to see the growth rings, the annual rings which is formed. So at the base part is the best, that this ring appears clearly in the base part of the stem. So by increment border, this base part of a piece of stem is taken from the base part, and the rings are counted, and then we can determine the age of the tree, and again the piece is inserted in the same plant at the same place of the stem, and again it looks like that it is not taken out from that part. So this is how the age of the tree is counted. So let's see once again. Spring wood is lighter in color and lower density, and whereas autumn wood is darker and it is having higher density. The 2 woods that appear as alternate concentric rings, they are appearing alternately. One time springtime, 1 ring is formed. Again, when autumn season come, again 1 ring is formed. Constitute an annual ring. So annually 2 rings are forming. Annual ring seen in a cut stem given as an estimate of the age of the tree. By seeing these annual ring, we can estimate the age of the tree. So growth rings are clearly observed in temperate regions. In temperate region where we can observe the climatic condition, so change of climate is there, so there we can see the growth ring, because climatic conditions are not uniform. The same changes we can observe. So there in the temperate region, the plants which are growing in the temperate region, colder region, their growth rings can be seen. In the tropical region, tropical plants, what happens? The tropical plants or the plants which are growing in the tropical region, and plants which are growing in coastal areas, in sea coast areas, they do not have distinct growth rings, because no uniform conditions we can observe. The climatic condition do not change much. So uniform condition. There instead of growth ring, growth marks are present. So we can observe growth marks in tropical plants. and in coastal areas also growth rings are not found. Heartwood and sapwood. What is this? Let's see. In older trees, as the tree become old, what happens? In the old trees, the secondary xylem is dark brown. The secondary xylem, which is formed by the activity of vascular cambium ring, so that part, the secondary xylem part, is becoming very dark, and it is becoming hard also, and brown due to deposition of organic compounds. And as it stores tannin, resins, gums, oils, so it stores such organic compounds, and due to the storage of these, it becomes dark brown, and it is storing aromatic substances and essential oils in the central or innermost layers of the stem. This we can observe in the innermost layer of the stem. When stem is growing old, or the tree is growing old, what happens? The innermost part becomes more darker, and it is durable. So in older trees, the secondary xylem is dark brown due to deposition of this resin, due to storage of resin, tannins, and oils, and other gums like substances. These substances make it hard and durable. It becomes hard and durable. Durability increases, and resistance to the termites and increases. These regions comprise dead elements because they are lignified, highly lignified walls. Here, highly lignified walls are present. So these are dead elements and are called heartwood. In the center, it is present in the center, darker in color, dead and lignified walls. And the heartwood never conducts water, because it never conducts water. So water, of course, it is secondary xylem part, but secondary xylem, when the tree becomes old, this part become hard part and dead part. So conduction is stop conducting, because xylem parenchyma forms tyloses like structure, like balloon like structure, which prevents the conduction of water. So the heartwood never conducts water, provide mechanical support. They give support to the plant. So it is also known as duramen. The heartwood is also known as duramen. Next, and the peripheral region of the secondary xylem. So secondary xylem is having two regions. Its central region, which is known as heartwood or duramen, and the peripheral region, outer side region, secondary xylem, the outer region of the secondary xylem is lighter in color. So here we can observe this part is lighter. This is lighter in color, and the dark part, this part is darker color. So this is sapwood, and the darker color is heartwood. So the peripheral region of secondary xylem is lighter in color, and it is known as sapwood. So this is sapwood, lighter color, and it is peripherally present. So this part is peripherally present. The peripheral region of the secondary xylem is lighter in color, and it is known as sapwood, and it involves in transport of water and minerals and from the root to leaf. The root absorbs water and minerals, so the water and mineral to be it is transported to the other part with the help of this secondary xylem, which is known as sapwood, which is towards peripheral side. So the function of xylem is conduction of water. So the central portion becomes hard and dead. So it is known as hardwood, but the peripheral portion is active, and it conducts water, which is water and mineral and salts, which is known as sapwood. It is also known as alburnum. So another word for this is alburnum. Sapwood or alburnum. Now, here you can also observe plant growth, secondary growth, how takes place. Next step, cork cambium, located under outer surface, produces periderm. So cork cambium we have not seen. We have just seen the vascular cambium, how growth rings are formed, how heartwood and sapwood is formed, and how cambium formed in secondary xylem and secondary phloem. So these are growth rings. These are growth rings. You can observe. These lines are growth rings. And vascular rays. Rays are formed. Xylem rays and secondary xylem and phloem rays are formed, which is known as medullary rays. So these are rays. You can observe here. Radially, medullary rays are formed. And secondary xylem, heartwood, the inner portion is darker in color. It is known as heartwood. And the lighter in color, this portion is called sapwood. And this is vascular cambium. By the activity of vascular cambium, secondary xylem and secondary phloem part is formed. So outside secondary phloem is there. Now, extrastellar secondary growth. Up to now we have seen that stellar, in the stellar part, the cambium ring is formed, and due to the activity of this cambium ring, secondary xylem, secondary phloem is formed. Now extrastellar. So outside the stele, what is present? Hypodermis, epidermis, this part cortex, these layers are present outside the stele. In the stem we have seen that upper layer is epidermis, and below the epidermis, hypodermis is present. This hypodermis is made up of collenchyma in dicot stem, that we know. And below the hypodermis, cortex layer is present and endodermis. But what happens when secondary xylem and secondary phloem is formed? So more number of xylem and phloem is formed. So it increases, the xylem is when it increases and secondary phloem is cells are increasing. Due to this, epidermis structure, the primary epidermis structure ruptures. It gets ruptured, damaged. And let's see cork. What is cork cambium? By the activity of cork cambium or phellogen developed usually in the cortex region. So cork cambium actually develops from the hypodermal cells. So some of the hypodermal cell forms one or two layer, maximum 2 layer thick cork cambium. And this cork cambium is known as phellogen. The second name, the another name of cork cambium is phellogen. So cork cambium is formed by the hypodermis, developed usually in the cortex region. So cortex, hypodermis is also cortex part. So cortex region it is developed, and phellogen is a couple of layers in thick, 2 to 3 layers thick, not more than that, and made of narrow, thin-walled and nearly rectangular cells. Cells are narrow, thin-walled and rectangular in shape. This cork cambium again divides, and it cuts into new cells to both inner side and outer side. So cork cambium is present, which is known as phellogen. This phellogen part is present at the cortex region because the hypodermal cells form cork cambium, and suppose this is cork cambium. This is cork cambium, and these cells are rectangular in shape, and 2 to 3 layer, couple of layers thickness is there. Again, these cork cambial cells undergo division. It undergoes division, and some cells are formed towards outer side. These cells are formed towards outer side. Some outer side, some cells are formed like this. So this is phellogen part. Phellogen. Some cells are formed outer side, and some cells are formed towards inner side. So let's see the outer cells. The outer cell differentiated into cork or phellum. So the cells which are formed outer side, this is known as cork or phellum. Don't get confused here. Phellum. Cork cambium is phellogen. So don't confuse. Cork cambium is phellogen. Phellogen is present in the cortex region. And this cork cambium, this phellogen, undergoes division. And so towards outer side some cells are formed and towards inner side some cells are formed. The cells which are formed towards outer side, it is known as cork or phellum. And the cells which are formed towards inner side, the inner cells differentiated into secondary cortex. So these are cortical cells. So it is from secondary cortex, or another name is phelloderm. Phelloderm. So three types of cells are formed here. One is phellogen, another one is phellum, and again phelloderm. So by the division of phellogen in the cork cambium, again phellum and phelloderm is formed. So the cork is impervious to water due to suberin. In these cells, suberin is present, and suberin is impervious to water and other things. So due to the deposition, water cannot pass through this due to the presence of suberin. And these three, the cork is impervious to water due to suberin deposition, and phellogen, phellum and phelloderm. Three layers are formed here, three types of cells are formed here. They collectively known as periderm. These three are known as periderm. These three collectively, these three are known as periderm. So periderm is phellum, phellogen and phelloderm. These three, see, phellogen, phelloderm and phellum. These three form periderm structure. And bark is a non-technical term that refers to all tissues. We call that bark. But bark is not a scientific term, not a technical term. Bark is non-technical term that refers to all tissues exterior to the vascular cambium. Vascular stele are outside the stele. These phellum, phellogen and phelloderm, these structures are formed, and these are together known as bark, because in the mature plant, in the older trees, the epidermal part is ruptured because the secondary xylem is and phloem part is increasing. So epidermis part is ruptured, and there this phelloderm and phellogen phellum part is formed, and these three together form periderm, which is known as bark. But bark is not the technical term. And let's see. Bark is not non-technical term that refers to all tissues exterior to the vascular cambium. Therefore, including secondary phloem and periderm. So, including secondary phloem and periderm, we say that bark. At certain region, the phellogen cuts off parenchymatous and it becomes cells instead of cork. At some places, actually, it is cork. When cork is present, no water is going outside or coming inside because it is impervious to water. So some cells cuts off there in the periderm region, bark, at the place of bark. Some cells becomes thinner, become thin-walled, small cells, parenchymatous cells, and these cells are known as lenticels. And they help in gaseous exchange of gas and transpiration. So lenticular transpiration takes place with the lenticels. A certain region, the phellogen cuts off parenchymatous cells instead of cork. So complete cork is present, cork is dead, these are dead cells. So there the cork is cut. So cut off, and some cells are smaller in size, they are thin with thin walls, and these are parenchymatous cells. These cells are ruptured the epidermis, and these are lens-shaped, lens-like structure. Hence, lens-like opening structure. These cells are having openings, and it is known as lenticels. And lenticels helps in gaseous exchange, and it also helps in transpiration. This is how secondary growth takes place in dicot stem. So today we have seen that in dicot stem, due to the activity of vascular cambium and cork cambium, secondary xylem and a secondary phloem is formed, and towards outer side extracellular region, we have seen periderm is formed, and we have also seen some wood part is forming ring-like structure, concentric ring-like structures are formed, which is known as annual rings. And in the every year, 2 times ring-like structures are formed, and based on these rings, we estimate the age of the tree. That whether this tree is 5 years or 6 years. If there are 10 rings, that means every year 2 rings are forming. So the age of the tree is 5 years. So every year in springtime 1 ring is formed, and in autumn time 1 ring is formed. So both these collectively, these 2 rings are called annual rings. And similarly, we have seen heartwood and sapwood. The wood which is present towards inner side, darker in color, dead, and they do not help in conduction of water. This wood is called heartwood and duramen. And sapwood, lighter in color, peripheral, helps in conduction of water. And similarly, structure of bark also we have seen. And secondary growth in roots. In dicot stem, cambium is present. But in dicot root do not have cambiums. But how secondary growth takes place? In dicot root, the vascular cambium is completely secondary in origin. Because from the beginning, cambium is not there in roots. Because in the roots, the vascular bundles are exarch type of, that means protoxylem is towards periphery. And radial and alternate. Radial means xylem is phloem are situated on the different radius, and they are alternately arranged. Whereas in the stem, they are present in the same bundle, and in between them, cambium ring is present. But in the case of root, no cambium ring is there. So closed type of vascular bundle. So the vascular cambium is formed at the time of secondary growth. That means it is secondary in origin, not present primarily, and it originates from the tissue below the phloem. So the in between xylem, 2 xylem, phloem is present, because xylem and phloem alternately present in the dicot root. So below the phloem tissues, some tissues are present, which portion of pericycle tissues. Above the protoxylem, it is present above the protoxylem, forming a complete and continuous wavy ring. These protoxylem, the cells which are present above the protoxylem, these cells form a wavy and a complete ring. Later it becomes circular, and all the other events are similar. When cambium ring is formed, because earlier it is not there in dicot roots, so by the activity of phloem cells and the protoxylem cells which are above the protoxylem, some cells are present, and that form cambium ring structure. Once the cambium rings is formed, rest of the thing is similar like dicot stem. So I hope all of you have understood this secondary growth part. Of course, it is little tough because to understand you have to go through all the structures. First, the anatomy of dicot stem and dicot root also you have to know. Then only you can understand it easily. But after watching the video, you just ask me. If you do not understand anything, you can ask me, and I will clear you later. So thank you very much listening this, and take care of yourself, student. Thank you.